it up somehow. My mind can see that I will achieve, because I do the things I should, to my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on to reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. That I will achieve, because I do the things I should, to my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. My mind can see that I will achieve, because I do the things I should, to my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, we are not going to stop until we reach the top. And when we are there, we know it's time to say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. And I want to, as well, on this holiday Monday here in New York, say greetings to all my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian and Nevision diaspora, wherever you are at this point. I know that some of you are in Africa, there are some of you in Europe, there are some of you in Asia, and there are a whole lot of you right here in North America. Yes, somewhere about picnicking or something. But I can say good night, I can say good morning, and in some cases I am at liberty to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Straight Talk family, if you're joining me the first time, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. And if you're joining me for the first time, I welcome you. And just to apprise you, just to inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded to call, the numbers are 465-2555. That's one number. There are 3 lines. It demands, most cases, patience. And as I said, we had some difficulty last time. I trust and hope that has been resolved. But we also have an overseas line, which is 718-577-2916. For those of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, you don't want to be heard for some reason or other, so you want to be covered or to sit behind that keyboard and send your message and to participate rather in the program. And we give you access via our email platform, which is STRAIGHTALK@gmail.com. That again is one word, ZIZ Straight Talk at gmail.com, my Straight Talk family. And we started a bit late tonight, so I want to get right into it. And I want to say from the onset that there are lots of folks, there are some people who are trying to stop the movement towards a safe and productive economy in St. Kitts. So they are doing all sorts of things. Some are saying that there's a fork in the road. And I am saying tonight there is no fork in the road. Ever since June 2020 last year, there are some people who have not come to grips with the fact that the Team Unity administration won a second term in office, even though, much to the surprise of many, one of its best performing ministers lost his seat. For those who continue to gloat about my defeat, I must tell you that man may have shut one door, but Almighty God has opened another. Just so man is trying to shut one door on the best prime minister in our country, the best prime minister our country has ever seen. But God continues to open other doors for Timothy Sylvester Harris. I'll state that from the onset. As Prime Minister and leader of the Team Unity administration, he inherited a country with the dubious accolade of being the murder capital of the world. And today, murders or homicides are almost non-existent when you compare a high of 35 murders in 1 year to 4 homicides or murders thus far in 2021. And may I state without hesitation, that is 4 too many. Mark you, not Brantley, mark you. I will hasten to add, I say, that is 4 too many. Lest we forget, as Prime Minister and leader of the Team Unity administration, he inherited a country with the highest debt to GDP ratio in the world and under an IMF program. And in short order, he turned around the poor fiscal disposition and produced surplus budget after surplus budget. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, something the world first experienced nigh 100 years ago. But good thing, Prime Minister Harris saved for a rainy day. And everyone who wants to give a fair commentary would say that the National Emergency Operations Committee, or the NEOC, the Health Emergency Operations Committee, called the HEOC, and the Cabinet, led by Prime Minister Harris, continues to do a marvelous job in containing this deadly virus even as we speak. In spite of that, there is so much misinformation being spread, and most of it emanates from local or some local radio stations that I referred to earlier as panic factories. And for those who I have upset with my assessment, I humbly apologize. But these stations continue to peddle rumors like this one, my straight dog family, and that sometimes, or most times I should say, is troubling to me.
Do you hear about, we have about, let's say, 10 more other cases where I'm hearing on the streets been alleged that certain people around the government sector been alleged, accused of having COVID, and we'll let you know about it if it's true or not.
Before,
and you hear that? Hiding behind this nonsense about it being alleged that certain people in the government have attracted or have been infected with COVID, and they're hiding it. And I agree with Prime Minister Harris that we must not help to propagate these rumors. We should not help to propagate these rumors, my straight dog family.
some persons who are not even bearers of the COVID-19 disease have had their names scandalized across social media. And we must reject that as indecent, inappropriate, and unethical. And those of us who receive them on our phones must not bother, we must immediately delete them and not share them with anyone else, because we help in propagating unethical conduct by doing so. So, again, to all those who have been victim of that indecent behavior, I pray that you are able to pick up the pieces and to continue. And those of us who know better will do better, and we will do unto others what we would like them to do unto us.
Yes, let us do unto others as we will have them do unto us. And I want to state as well, when things are bad, we have a right as citizens and residents to criticize in order to help to improve the situation. But when things are good, man, we must advance commendation to those affecting or effecting, I should say, the good. Here on Straight Talk, as your host for night 10 years, I give you nothing but unvarnished truth or reality about someone or something. And sometimes it causes them to feel sadness or unhappiness. And it brings out a venom in some people or from within them. Then you know they are angry. But one day, I always remember, many years ago, I got in an argument with a certain young man. And you know, I'm sure you will agree that at times you just have to stand up for your right. But as the argument ensued, I felt someone touch me on my shoulder. And when I looked around, it was the late Lee Llewellyn Moore who beckoned me to move on. As I walked along, Lee Moore said to me, "Young man, never argue with a fool. He will bring you down to his level and beat you with experience." It was not until many years after I found out that it was a famous Mark Twain quotation. And from there onwards, I never argue with stupid people because they will bring me down to their level and beat me with experience. Think about it, my Straight Dog family. We all get so many opportunities to tell the truth. Yet, we find it so challenging to do so. But it really comes down to the fact that the truth hurts in so many ways. But still, it is only the truth that can set you free. If you know who you are and what you are all about, also where you are going to, then you will find yourself telling and living the truth on a daily basis. It has been said that all you need to have is a bigger yes than a no. In this case, once you know the truth and live the truth, you are more likely to call out the falsehoods of life. So I urge you all to commit to living truth. Compromising your ethics or living in fear will keep you in bondage. I have never seen a man or a woman who lived in fear of what others thought, of doing the right thing, amount to much for too long. Whether it's in business or in significant relationships, the truth in that context will totally set you free. You may have to deal with consequences of your mistakes or the mistakes of someone else, but the truth is always liberating. In life as well, we do have to embrace conflict, but conflict provides an opportunity for growth. Every day, we are confronted with people in situations that are currently or ultimately painful. We will be bad leaders if we do not embrace the conflict and tell the truth. In order to do this, we must tell ourselves every day that we will embrace conflict as an opportunity to say something to someone important that maybe nobody else in their life will have the guts to say to him or her. So if I say that some radio stations have become panic factories in these times of a dreadful pandemic, then I'm sorry if that hurts. But as I said, before it comes down to the fact that the truth hurts, but only the truth can set you free. Some people are accusing your humble servant of politicking every Monday and Thursday night, which suggests to me that my public service is considered by those opposite as an activity being undertaken for political reasons. When in fact, it is their groundless politicking every weekend, every Friday to be exact, with the expectation of derailing the successful fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, mainly through the promotion of hesitancy. Recall last year on this groundless program, they questioned the NEOC implementation of the social distancing protocols, which was not supported by this former CMO. Did you hear me? The former CMO did not support social distancing. And I don't fabricate. I always bring you the facts. There's one thing, straight talk, always bring you the facts. And here are the facts.
I do not support any social distancing at this time until there's a highly suspect case or there's documented transmission within the community.
You hear that, my straight talk family? Furthermore, this bright student and Rhodes scholar, he even questioned the suspension of Culturama. Yes, he did. Again, straight talk, always bring you the facts, the truth.
I want to hear the CMO on this because well, I understand the government part of it, the official side, but I want to know if crowds induce or instigate the COVID in any way. Is that an instigating factor, Doc?
I know of no public health reason why we couldn't have a Culturama. I don't know of any public health reason why we could not have a Culturama.
Okay. You heard that for yourself, my straight talk family. Don't know of any public health reason why we shouldn't have a Culturama. You see where we were heading since last year, my straight talk family? Well, I'm going to speak out, as I have done all my life. I would say tonight, any medical doctor in St. Kitts and or Nevis, or anyone for that matter, who has taken the 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, then turns around and tries to convince me to wait on another vaccine, whether from Cuba or Russia or wherever. If you are a medical doctor, I consider that, if you are not, rather, let me take that back. If you are not a medical doctor, first of all, I consider that hypocritical. It is characterized by behavior that contradicts what one claims or what you claim to believe or feel. How you take 2 vaccines, you take 2 doses, but you tell me I must wait. You're hypocritical, I say, that is your stance. And if you are a medical doctor, I consider that you are not only hypocritical, but you're also unethical. I repeat that. If you as a medical doctor has taken your 2 doses of any vaccine, and in some cases you only have the AstraZeneca, I consider that, and you're telling me I must wait, I consider that not only hypocritical, but also unethical. I say so because in my view, that contradicts, it goes against the social or professional expectations of doing what is right. I would even add, it is immoral conduct. And I say so against the backdrop that just 6 p.m. today, the professional expectation of every doctor, especially at this time in a pandemic, when across the globe, as at 6 p.m. today, and that may have changed, that's over an hour ago, 2 hours ago, there were 170,480,077 COVID-19 cases confirmed worldwide, with 3,544,362 million deaths as at 6 p.m. today, according to the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine and its COVID update by Straight Talk Family. 1,893,652. Let me take that back. Some 1,893,652,012 vaccine doses have been administered globally all around the world. In St. Kitts Nevis, we've had 69 cases. I hope that has not changed because I haven't checked. I don't know if there's a conference this afternoon, any NOC briefing this afternoon. But you'll forgive me and correct me if I'm wrong. But in St. Kitts Nevis, that I know, as of this morning, there were 69 cases confirmed, and thank God, not one death to date. The AstraZeneca is being used in over 168 countries around the world, and that's the only one available to us in St. Kitts Nevis. And any good medical doctor, man, whether he or she is a Rhodes Scholar or not, the professional expectation, whether he or she is a Rhodes Scholar or not, I should say, the professional expectation is to tell his or her patient, or to tell the listening public who look to you for guidance, that the best vaccine is the one that is available. You hear me? The best vaccine is the one that is available. So if you have so much confidence in the vaccine you took as a doctor, you took the 2 doses, yet you promote hesitancy. Yes, that to me is hypocritical. It is hypocritical, especially when you say this.
No one can discount the performance of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The AstraZeneca vaccine continues to perform magnificently in terms of keeping people out of ICU, so hospital, ICU, morgue.
Those are your words. Those are not my words. So how can you promote otherwise? You are promoting hesitancy when you say you want to pivot from a single vaccine strategy. That has to be hypocritical. I confess, and I must state it. It is hypocritical, my Straight Talk family. It has to be hypocritical when you're going to tell me and tell the audience we need to pivot.
I think that we should signal to the Cubans that pending, third-party verification of the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine, we will want to be the first in the line to get it. And I think that's the communication approach that we should take, because such approach will engender confidence in those persons who have said, thinking for themselves, with or without the influence of a political leader, I prefer to take something that is made in the Caribbean. One has to respond to that, because these are clear-thinking people who are saying that they trust outputs from Cuba. And so we should signal to Cuba that pursuant to international certification, that we will want to get a shipment. And that will certainly help to top up our fully vaccinated rate, which is now 15.5%. And we will not achieve so-called herd immunity with AstraZeneca alone. That is clear. That is clear. So we have to pivot from a single vaccine strategy.
And Patrick and Julie, I mean, that's what was being said all along, that people want a choice. People want to have an opportunity to choose a different vaccine. And people made that decision for themselves.
But we must convince people, yes, you have a choice, but the situation is dire. But through it all, the country has come a long way, even in spite of all those who try to prevent the country from achieving herd immunity. We've come a long way. God is good.
The country has done and continues to do an excellent job in managing the COVID-19. We still are among the best performing countries in the containment of the virus anywhere in the world. Even as we speak, with the second wave of cases that have been confirmed, St. Kitts and Nevis is still among the independent countries the lowest confirmed cases. St. Kitts and Nevis still has one of the best record in terms of testing as a per capita of the population. St. Kitts and Nevis still stands unique, save for Dominica, as being the only country within CARICOM that has not recorded one death. For this we give God thanks. These are the gains that we must consolidate. We have come too far to think about turning backwards to complacency and, of course, getting bored of doing the right thing. This is a war, several battles. Some we must lose, or we will lose, given the nature, but we must never lose the war.
Yes, we must lose a battle. We must never lose the war. And my Straight Talk family, it's not about pivoting. It's not about having a choice. It's not about waiting for another vaccine, because we, truth be told, we may wait in vain. Because doctors and Dr. John Torres said this about vaccines, and what he said about the best vaccine is this: straight and simple.
To answer Hoda's question earlier about if you look and if you get a choice, what I tell people all the time is the best vaccine to get is the one that's available to you first, because they're all going to protect you against COVID, which is what we want.
You've heard that? I want to play it for you again, my Straight Dog family. The best vaccine is the one available to you.
To answer Hoda's question earlier about if you look and if you get a choice, what I tell people all the time is the best vaccine to get is the one that's available to you first, because they're all going to protect you against COVID, which is what we want.
They're all going to protect you against COVID, and that is the expected outcome. But this groundless bunch trying to convince the unsuspected folks amongst us with their claim that there's a fork in the road. But it reminds me of the fork in the road riddle, which goes like this. A hiker comes to a fork in the road and doesn't know which way to go to reach his destination. He sees two men at the fork, one of whom always tells the truth, while the other one always lies. The hiker doesn't know which is which, though. He may ask one of the men only one question to find his way. Which man does he ask? And And what is the question? Either the man should be asked the following question. If I were to ask you if this is the way I should go, would you say yes? While asking the question, the hiker should be pointing at either of the directions he's going to from the park. But the dilemma is, if you ask the truthful man, he will say the lying man would say the wrong destination. If you ask the lying man, he will say the truthful man would pick the wrong destination as well, since he's lying. So no matter what, you could choose the destination opposite of what they say, and you will end up at your destination, and that may come like paradise to you. But my Straight Dog family, there's one person I know in St. Kitts and Nevis who won't be fooled by these promoters of hesitancy, is a woman called Lydia Dumpling Manals. And she's from the street, and I like her. She's always straightforward.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night.
This is Dumpling.
How are you,
Patrick,
Dumpling?
I tell you about 2 months ago that certain people feel like this corona is unity method and all the ministers them involved in it and the doctors and the nurses. But they realize that they're like scientists people, they're on the radio and they're encouraging people to don't take it. But wait till Cuba send an ark or anything. And now it reach here to kill out scientists people. To kill us out, you know. They're like us. That is I can't understand scientists people. They don't know how we illiterate. And it look like scientists people look like they suffer too. Because something to help the federation mind. The children them can't get it. The pregnant mothers them can't get it. And these sensible people who got a load of diploma could let Dumpling go down the clinic and get your first shot. I will want the last film I like to see next month to go for me other one.
Well, Dumpling, they have more than diplomas. They have degrees. As Michael Powell would say, they have more degrees than a thermometer. But don't be fooled by them. Another one also refused to be fooled about the claim of politicking on Straight Talk. And this one as well caught the host of that panic factory off guard, I say, when she said this.
I'm a frequent listener of Freedom, right? I listen to Freedom more than always stations, and to be honest, I think Freedom is the one and only station that will bring a lot of political voice too. You know? To me, that's how I see it. I'm speaking justice, and I think it's the station that brings, okay, you said the civil season is over, but Freedom is the one who always has somebody, you know, bringing a political talk to the arena. That's how I see it, okay? But I still listen to them, and I'm going to listen to them all the time.
All right.
So, I said love you, bye.
Thank you, sir. We love you too. Huh? Where she's calling from. Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Was it the overseas line or local
I know,
line?
that's a local line.
That's a local line?
Local line.
Yeah. Where it came from, overseas or local, it was local. So I have come to tell you tonight that Straight Talk is your program. It has been around for 10 years, and God willing, it will be around for many, many more years to come. I have been in public service all my life, and God's willing, I will continue my public service every Monday and Thursday night, whether I am a minister of government, an ambassador, or an ordinary citizen in in the country of my birth. I will exercise my fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. And one such is freedom of expression, according to Chapter 2 of our Constitution, which speaks to protection of fundamental rights and freedoms. Subsection 12, or Section 12, I should say, subsection 1. Except with his own consent, a person shall not be hindered in the enjoyment of his freedom of expression, including freedom to hold opinions without interference, freedom to receive ideas and information without interference, freedom to communicate ideas and interference freedom to communicate ideas, and information without interference, whether the communication is to the public generally or to any person or class of persons, and freedom from interference with correspondence. And I will continue to do so, whether I am a minister of government, an ambassador, or an ordinary citizen of the country of my birth. I will exercise my fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution. As I said, one such is freedom of expression, which I give to you, my listeners and viewers, every time, each time, and I'll do so right now, as I do on each edition of this program called Straight Talk, by opening the lines and entertaining your calls and your emails. And all I ask of you is to respect others. And to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in doing and saying those things, let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in the process of doing and saying those things as well, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 15 before the 9 o'clock hour, I go to the lines and say, caller, you are live.
My namesake, my good brother.
How are you, namesake?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I am peaceful, man.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I just want to tell you, you couldn't make a better outset. Because, I mean, the people in St. Kitts, I think by now we're supposed to get wise and stop the fool. Because you have a vaccine which is presently available, and you're telling me you're waiting for something that is non-existent. I mean, something got to be wrong with our brain. I didn't come out of school with much practice, but let me tell you, St. Kitts people need to wake up and shake off the dust and come out of the if and the but. Use what you have. You can't use what you don't got. And I'm saying it's time for us to wake up. When I was growing up, when we used to go to the bay and get scrap, we got to use scrap and breadfruit and probably 1 or 2 dumplings and 2 potato. We don't have it. So if you don't have it, you can't use it. So I'm saying it's time for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to wake up and stop the fool by this political parasite. St. Kitts people got to come better than this. I already take my 2 shot patches, and thank God none of the shots that I took I get any problem with. And I'm so happy I did, and I hope that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis do like I did and can be strong, that whenever the virus hits us, we can stand up like a rocket. You hear me tell you? When you play a base of golf ball, you can stand up and be strong because your body is well protected. Don't worry those that are so bright, because sometimes when we're so bright, we end up turn fool. That's why some of us are so foolish. God bless you. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my brother, my namesake. Remember those sprat on breadfruit days. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Enzing. God blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you, man? How was your day?
Peaceful, my brother, peaceful. It's a holiday in your neck of the woods.
Well, brother, you know, I don't celebrate that day, but because, you know, our people fought in all those wars, and when they came back home, brother, they fought brilliantly, gallantly. And when they came back, same thing they went to fight against. When they came back, they couldn't even be a free people in this country, man. Couldn't be free men, brother. Even the Nazis, the thing with Hitler, rode in the same thing with them, man. And they was at the back, and the Nazi prisoners was at the front. So, brother, I don't have time with that, man. But let me just say to the brothers, you fought brilliantly, man. But you know, the racism still continues in this country. But that's for another time. But Patrick, let me take a little time out. You know about it. I spoke to you Thursday night. I want to apologize to Master Lewis. I mistakenly took someone else's voices for her on Straight Talk on Thursday, May 27th. So I want to apologize to her, right? Come to find out it's somebody who lives in Stacia from St. Kitts Nevis. But I am, just taking it easy because, brother, let me tell you, I ain't going to waste time with anyone, beloved brother, but any time. You could attack what I said, but when you get personal, I'm going to blaze all verbal fire on anyone, sisters or brothers. No one going to be spared, beloved. Brother, let me talk about what I really want to talk about. Beloved, you see, this back and forth with this COVID and taking who's going to take and that. And, my problem with all of them, beloved brother, both people who don't anti-vax and pro-vax. It's too many propaganda on both sides. Let me repeat that. Too much propaganda on both sides. Because the pro-vax talk a lot of foolishness that don't exist, and the anti-vax talk a lot of foolishness that don't exist. A lot of them on both sides, the vast majority on both sides. And the nonsense got to cut, man. They got to cut. If you're going to be pro-vax, okay, you love your thing, that's you. You're going to be anti-vax, you love the truth. Tell it like it is on both sides. And let people, you don't want to, you want to, fine. That's your right. And no one, let me say, no one supposed to infringe on no one right. I mean, if you stand up for your right, you got consequences. That's okay if you're willing to take that, beloved. But no one should force anyone. And it should never be made mandatory for anyone in St. Kitts Nevis to take the vaccine. Yes, my brother, you saying something?
We understand what you're saying, but we seem to have lost that call for whatever reason.
No, I'm here, brother.
You're there? Okay, go ahead. Sorry, brother.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, brother, that's the take on it, but we should see the bigger picture, my beloved brother. We must see the bigger picture at all times. The bigger picture is to get our country up and running again economically, beloved. But we should have learned a lot from COVID. And don't put all the foods in one basket. Tourism alone cannot cut it. Let's do other things, man. Let's do other things. Technology, agro-processing. The blue economy is there. I mean, I'm a vegan, but everybody is not me. We must do everything else, brother. We must depend on ourselves. Food security, beloved, that must be priority number one. We must be able to feed ourselves at all times, my beloved brother. Brother, continue to listen. Keep up the great work. Pan-Africanism and perish. One love, my dear beloved brother.
Yes, one love, my brother. I like how you put it. The bigger picture is to get our country up and running. Let's go back to the lines at 8 before 9 o'clock. Call your line.
Yes, good evening, Patches. And what I want to say, the country ain't gonna run until everybody is vaccinated to the maximum what is supposed to be. Nobody gonna take up $1 million ship and $3 million and $4 million ship and send in a place what is full of COVID and nothing. And nobody, the food security, nobody here hungry. Everybody got something to eat. Everybody has something to eat. Maybe some people can go to the market and buy because they're out of work for almost a year and something. So the funds is kind of low with them. But nobody thinks it's hungry, you know. So I don't know what some of them that we got pushing, you know, to say. Okay, but Patrick, let me explain something to you. This nonsense what peddling on the radio. They're trying to hold the government and the Prime Minister them hostage. I don't know what is joke to the butcher is dead to the pig. They want a new vehicle, but they rather a bus instead. They want from $20,000 to $80,000, and they want protection, which in they want a firearm. That's the way we think it's come to know on those radio stations, trying to hold a government hostage by pressing propaganda upon the government and looking for ransom. That is what the country come to. That's what our beloved think it come to. You see, when Mr. Bratcher was around, and so on, and they tell you they only want one radio station and one television station, people used to say, boy, Lord man, we could do well with another one and so on and etc. Since it's got the most radio station now, and all some of them, instead of helping the country, they're using the radio station to blackmail the country. You understand me? But Patches, there's a God above. He neither sleep nor slumber. You understand me? And the more light the burn, the more the Prime Minister gonna see his way. So let them go ahead. When they dig in a dish, let them dig too. You understand me? Because they could fall over in the same dish. You know? Good night, Patches, and God bless you. God bless the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, and bless the Federation. Good night. I may come back.
Good night, my brother. God bless you as well. And just some information that has come to hand. Tomorrow night, Leadership Matters will be suspended. It will not be aired tomorrow night as per usual at 8 o'clock, but will be aired or will resume next week Tuesday due to other national commitments to be undertaken by the Honorable Prime Minister. But keep your ears glued to social media and to the radio station as well, because on Thursday there will be the Prime Minister's press conference and more details will follow. But just for information, tomorrow, Leadership Matters, that most popular program, would not be aired as per usual. My Stray Dog family, it's 4 before the 9 o'clock hour. As I said before that caller, someone suggested that the bigger picture is to get our country up and running. King Rockefeller suggested one way, but a very important way is to get vaccinated. And as Dr. John Torres said on NBC, just I think it was last week or perhaps some time ago, he said this: about vaccinations.
To answer Hoda's question earlier about if you look and if you get a choice, what I tell people all the time is the best vaccine to get is the one that's available to you first, because they're all going to protect you against COVID, which is what we want.
The best vaccine to get is the one available to you, because we're all going to be protected by any one of them. You want to avoid hospitalization. You want to avoid, God forbid, death. So there's no time to procrastinate my straight dog family. There's talk about, for example, all-inclusive or inviting everybody to some table, political parties. But in fact, I think it was in March this year. If you pick up the Labour spokesman, I think on the 31st of March, somewhere about, the Labour Party and all the other parties, political parties, attended this stakeholder session on the COVID-19 matter. Attending for the Labour Party was the National Secretary of that party, of the National Executive, I should say, Diana Williams-Humphrey. Congress Maynard, the candidate for constituency number 3 in the last election, he also attended the meeting. And Dr. Joya Clark, the senator, she too attended the meeting. And this is what Diana Humphrey Clark, I think it was said, and I quote, "One of the things we emphasize is that we hope the stakeholder," referring to the stakeholder discussion, "was not for optics, for public perception. We hope that it's a step rather in the right direction. We have finally, all persons have come together." I'm paraphrasing here, for this very important discussion, my straight dog family. So in fact, I said, the parties, all the parties and all the stakeholders, including the Chamber of Industry and Commerce and all other NGOs, the Consensus Movement of Nevis, the Nevis Reformation Party, the People's Labour Party, and the People's Action Movement, and all of them attended this stakeholder session, my straight dog family. So yes, there has been participation by all the stakeholders. So do not be fooled by some of the things you are hearing. They are not true. The fact is, we have to be careful by those who are trying to stop, put a cessation to the progress we are making. And my straight dog family, I know this was updated, but this was coming from the CMO just on the weekend, I think it was.
Within the last 12 hours, the Ministry of Health received positive results for 4 additional cases. These 4 individuals are all nationals. These cases are linked to cases we reported recently. So at present, the Federation would have announced 68 confirmed cases, 54 cases from St. Kitts, 14 cases from Nevis. At present, we have 23 active cases. So the Ministry of Health, we are monitoring 23 active cases.
I stand corrected, but I think that has moved to 24 cases, my straight dog family. Let's go back to the lines. It's now 2 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. But my Sri Lanka family, we have to be careful with what you're hearing as it comes to our fight or our battle or the war, I should say, against COVID. The COVID-19 pandemic is with us. We have had a spike in cases after a lull. We've never had so many cases at any one time for within the last 14 months, I should say, my Straight Dog family. But I want to implore you to stay focused. To stay focused on the positive things. Yes, we're not out of the woods, but we're not as bad as others, my Straight Dog family. That does not give you any comfort. But throughout the world, as I said earlier, there are over 170 million confirmed cases, over 3 million deaths. But as I wait your calls, my Straight Dog family, I hope and trust that our lines are really not giving us the jinx again, but I'm sure we'll get to that. But I want to say, in the event you have just joined me, I want to say, my Straight Dog family, that in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have an opportunity to work together and get out of this quagmire caused by this dreadful disease or the coronavirus-induced pandemic. We have a tool available to us, and that tool is the vaccine. We have the AstraZeneca vaccine available to us. And we know, my Straight Dog family, that vaccine is being used all over the world, and I believe in some 168 countries or more. And, my Straight Dog family, even doctors in our midst have said without reservation that they cannot discount the vaccine.
Discount the performance of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The AstraZeneca vaccine continues to perform magnificently in terms of keeping people out of ICU, so hospital, ICU, morgue.
Yes, my Straight Dog family, cannot discount the AstraZeneca vaccine. But yet, the same people, the same ones who have taken those doses wants us to procrastinate, wants us to hesitate in accepting the vaccine. And any good doctor will say to you this.
Hoda's question earlier about if you look and if you get a choice, what I tell people all the time is the best vaccine to get is the one that's available to you first, because they're all going to protect you against COVID, which is what we want.
Yes, the best vaccine to get is the one that's available to you. And let us not dispute that. That to come from every doctor, every trained doctor, my Straight Dog family. This email reads, the Syrian so-called social commentator always want to give the impression he knows and have the answer for everything, talking about the government should embark upon the rapid testing. The man just hear about rapid testing and having a scintilla of knowledge what he's talking about. I was so happy when the expert Dr. Wilkinson denounced to the armchair critic, denounced his suggestion as foolish and irresponsible, reads that email. This other email reads, the propagandist station manager really think we Kititians are stupid so he can maneuver and play us. He touted and broadcasted that the AstraZeneca vaccine is no good and he waiting on the Cuban vaccine and encouraged others to do so. But since the medical chief of staff has likened his illogic thinking as a man whose house is on fire, and when the fire truck arrived to extinguish the fire, he stopped them and said, no, I am waiting for a different fire truck to come. He now realized what a foolish puppy show he was and has now decided that he's going to take the AstraZeneca. Ha ha ha, reads this email. This other email reads, Dr. family, there are 3 Dr. Goebbels who operate a propaganda radio show every Friday afternoon, spreading rumors, fake news, lies, and deception. It was obvious that they set up the red-cap labor man to call in and tarnish the good name of the Attorney General and his family, along with a medical doctor, and link them with COVID. Boy Patches, it's sweet that 3 Dr. Goebbels hear them be heard so, and we'll be listening to the COVID briefing this afternoon to hear more about it. Oh, how foolish these gullible jokers and failures can be, reads that email, my Straight Talk family. Now, I want to apologize. We're having some difficulties with our connectivity, but our engineer, Alva, is working furiously on rectifying the situation, but I'm sure we'll get it rectified, and yes, we did. So I'll go to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Thank you very much. I see in your early stages you were discussing some comments made by a doctor in this country. But in medical ethics, that is described as an abuse of medical, cultural, historical, and professional authority. I mean, you're going to hear a doctor call a vaccine in your water when he knows much better. We had the high school situation with the former Prime Minister. When having a report from the ILO on his desk, he went on to say that the Barclay High School is safe, etc., etc. And that is a classical case of where you have an abuse of one's medical, professional, historical, and cultural authority coming from medical ethics. But what I want to get at tonight is about the vaccine. And let me be upfront. Yes, indeed, there's an mRNA component in the vaccine. We're not denying that. But in making a vaccine, there's a process called attenuation. Let me repeat it, attenuation. That the germs that's causing the disease, whether in terms of numbers or physical characteristics, is reduced down to a very, very, very low number where it cannot cause infection. Now that dose which is given at first, it creates a primary response. But if you're now later exposed to the actual germs or bacteria or virus, you get what is called a strong anamnestic or memory response. Because your body basically remembers being exposed to a tiny amount of the substance previously, and thus you get a very, very strong response. And in terms of antibody production, it's like the alphabet. 26 letters can give you millions of words in English, French, Spanish, etc., etc. And that gives you an idea of the body's ability to produce antibodies against any particular germ. But apart from the mRNA in the vaccine, we can go through the other substances in the vaccine. And this is very, very interesting. It has into histidine amino acids, which if you go to any health store, gym store, etc., and you purchase protein powder, histidine is an amino acid in those powders or protein supplements. It has in magnesium chloride, which we drink that every day in water. Every day you drink water, you drink magnesium chloride. There are 3 substances in it which really creates a laugh. Alcohol, common salt, and sucrose, which we get when we eat sugar cane. We go further. There's a sodium edetate compound also in the vaccine. And that is used in medicine to fight what we call hypercalcemia. And very interestingly too, it is used to fight abnormal heart rhythms. But here's a thing to it also in a lot of skin products that goes on the hands, the face, and different parts of the human body. But here's a very interesting one finally. I leave this one for last. It's called polysorbate 80. And this compound is found in ice creams, yogurt, sorbets, whipped creams, and various substances. I think if you read the label on a Tang bottle, you would also find that polysorbate is in Tang. So what I'm trying to say, a number of things have been said about the vaccine, but many of the things in the vaccine are things which we consume day after day in abundance. The actual volume of the vaccine is only 0.5 of a mil. So when people are spreading all this propaganda, they have to stop to understand and look at the content of the vaccine. Because in summary, these are things which the people are consuming every single day. Thank you very much.
Before you go, caller, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You gave us a mouthful in the beginning. Abuse of medical, social. Could you repeat that?
You see, historically, you know, in any society, be you a common bush doctor or a conventional doctor, what you say is the general person believes you. So you must not say that the vaccine is water, or suppose I say soluble insulin is gin. I'm a doctor, people want to believe me because they look very, very much alike. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because you have some education and some authority, you must not exploit the weakness of the knowledge of the common person. And that's what I said in medical ethics. It's what you call an abuse of your cultural, historical, professional, and medical authority, which we've seen a lot of around here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay? When one doctor and former leader is going to say that the vaccine is water, making thousands of people to believe him and develop vaccine resistance, that is absolutely not nice at all. Okay? But anyway, I'm just trying to make the point that many of the things that people consume every day, common salt, sucrose, alcohol, polysorbate 80, histidine, and all these substances are in the vaccine. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your intervention. And I think this is what you were talking about.
Now, one of the questions we have gotten here is what is in the vaccine. People are saying, well, they don't know what it is, and so if they don't know what it is, they don't want it in their bodies because they don't know what it's going to do. How could you allay such fears?
Right. And surprisingly, this morning, several people called and asked me if it is water that these people are taking. I mean, that is the extent to which people have basically descended. I don't want to say what it is.
And that's the abuse that caller and doctor himself was talking about, my stray dog family. This message reads, good night. Please let us stop getting after each other if the vaccine or if we did not take the vaccine. To each his own. To take or not to take, that is a big question. I will not take it, reads this email. And that is your right. But I think it is my responsibility as a host to try to encourage our people to take the vaccine. Because as a doctor said himself, he took the vaccine, and over 90% of all the doctors in St. Kitts and Nevis, according to the information that I have received, they have all taken the vaccine. And that to me speaks volumes. Ricky, if I can call your name. Mr. Ambassador reads this email. I heard that workers of the port and the airport were told that there will be police and the security to ensure that if a worker is not vaccinated, he or she cannot go to work at either of the two places. If this is true, this needs to be challenged in the court. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda made it very clear that the pensioners will not be paid, and workers without the certificate to ensure that they were vaccinated, they will not be paid. This is not fair. I think that these PMs are looking and asking for trouble. How you are only playing the clips which speak of favor of the vaccine, but you are not playing those against the vaccine. Why? Because they are of no moment. They are in the minority. When I say minority, a real minority. We have looked at the positive things of vaccine, and everybody would say, every single doctor would tell you it is important to be vaccinated. But yes, you have a right to take it or not to take it, my straight dog family. At 20 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour, I do apologize for the difficulties I am having with our lines again, and I trust and hope that we will sort that out. But as I said earlier, and I started the program, and just for the benefit of those of you who may have just joined me, I came tonight to tell you that in St. Kitts and Nevis, there is no fork in the road. I also came to tell you that ever since June 2020, there are some people who have not come to grips with the fact that the Team Unity administration won a second term in office, even though, much to the surprise of many, one of its best performing ministers lost his seat. For those who continue to gloat about my defeat, I must tell you all that man may have shut one door, but God has opened another. Just so, man is trying to shut one door on the best Prime Minister that we have ever seen, my straight dog family. And we are still trying to close that door on him. But my straight dog family, Almighty God continues to open many doors for this Prime Minister. He came in, my straight dog family, and he dealt with crime. And the crime, by straight talk, as a matter of fact, we were known as the murder capital of the world. As Prime Minister and leader of the team unity administration, he inherited a country with that dubious accolade. But today, murders or homicides are almost non-existent when you compare a high of 34 or 35 murders, I should say, in 1 year to 4 thus far in 2021. And that is commendable. We must give kudos to Commissioner Hilroy Brandy and his men.
2020, we recorded 10 homicides. To date, we have recorded 4 homicides for 2021. I am pleased to say so far, out of the 4, 75% of those homicides has been detected. That is 3 out of 4. And I could assure the listening public and viewers that I'm looking by the end of next month that my violent crime unit will be able to solve the other homicide to give us 100% detection.
So yes, detection rate is near 100%. And mark you, I will hasten to add that 4 is too many. Lest we forget as well, my Stray Dog family, that as Prime Minister and leader of the Team Unity administration, he inherited a country with the highest debt to GDP ratio in the world and under an IMF program. And in short order, he turned around that poor fiscal disposition and produced surplus budget after surplus budget. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic. Something the world first experienced like 100 years ago. But good thing the Prime Minister saved for a rainy day. Just try the line and see if we can take this call. Caller, you're live.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
It is night, my brother.
And how are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
All right. You see what I told you all the time, that the Bible says in Psalm chapter 7, when you make a dig, a hole, the same hole that you dig, you shall fall in it. And so, them who trying to dig hole for you, they are going to fall in a worse hole than you. In Galatians chapter 6 verse 7, receive, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that he shall also reap. So, Mr. Patrick, you know worry about them. They are way in the balancing and found one thing. And they have to think about you every morning they get up. Because the word of God in Isaiah, there is no peace to the wicked. He said the wicked are like a trouble, they are troubled every morning. Some Patrick, you know worry. The Bible says, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. And I say, next in Psalm 37, verse 1, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be envious against the work of iniquity. Let me tell you something, you know. Haman built a gallows for Mordecai. And the same gallows that Haman built, Haman hung on the same gallows. And right now, they are worried. You, God, lift you up. So you don't have to worry about them. They plan for your defeat. But God opened another door. So you don't worry about them. They are frustrated beings every morning. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. And so they're taking the text from the Prime Minister down by you. So you know worry. God is your helper. Son of a package. You take care. And the Lord is going to look after you. While you put your trust in the Lord, God is going to take the truth. Good night, Mr. Patrick. Have a pleasant night.
Good night, the Bible man. It had to be the Bible man to be able to get through. But the lines are still giving us some difficulty, but we'll see. Let's see if this one is on Call Your Life.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Patrick. I blessed good evening. Yes, I wanted to know what the postman them having a little problem because what they're saying that 7.5 supposed to be on the bus, but they're saying that when they issue the bus, 7.5, one child and 6 people. So what I want to say that when insurance comes, if government gonna go in and tell the insurance must they make no money to insure the bus. It's full fee what the insurance wants. So looking at that, say that they ain't running the bus, they had park up. So we know on the website standing up and waiting because the sickness people, we can't call them name, were saying that if the bus got in 8, they put in off 1. But when they put off, anyway, in our destiny, we destiny, we hope they got insurance to cover us because we were on the bus and they put us off, not because they are lost. How are we going to get home? We going to walk to go home or we going to run to go home? I'm looking at a lot of people going to reach work late because when the bus have on, it's 7.5, it coming from country and we know what boys, rest farm and so, we ain't going to get the room that we could go early. And everybody got a paper right up we want, they want. But the election done, we are in a problem because the Latin boys were supposed to be for boys people carry road for King Can Rest. People from Molyneux and Sunday and so get our land. And that is bad because there is a war to power we live and war to the live and then they don't war to power they live and they come to one or two that we can't get land all over in a boys they got land. All of my saying they got land from country. That is bad. Vote where you live and get your land where you live. Have a good night. Take care.
Have a good night. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Good night to you, Ambassador. How are you?
Caller. I am peaceful. Yourself?
I am very peaceful as well.
Sounds like Jamaica.
You know it.
Yes.
And my watchwords are only 2 words tonight: vaccinate and vaccinate.
Sound advice.
You know, I must commend the task force for implementing protocols that are seemingly, and I keep on saying, working and are in the best interests of the people. I must commend the PM and the team. I listened to him over the weekend on Friday as he addressed the nation at the briefing, and we heard a Prime Minister who is not only concerned, but a Prime Minister who has the interest of his people. And so I'd urge everybody to continue to do that which is in the interest of the country, to protect themselves and protect their families, and also do the best thing, which is to vaccinate. There's no, this fear about vaccination is just something that is really bad and really sad to see that people have allowed some people who seemingly don't want to see the country and other places go forward to push this nonsensical notion. And so I'll say again, vaccinate, vaccinate, and vaccinate to ensure that the economy and the country can get back on track.
What's the situation in Jamaica as you speak?
While we speak, the vaccination numbers are going up. There is not the vaccination fear like what I am seeing here now. But in Jamaica, the situation is moving much better. The public sector so far has gone 30. There has been 30%. You know, our population is 2.5 million. There has been 30% in terms of vaccination. The numbers in terms of death has been 945 deaths from COVID. The cases are now 45,000 and there's 27,000 active cases. So if there is nothing that has taught me the importance of vaccination, it is in my own homeland and my own experience. You know, that this is the way to go forward. The vaccination is not going to prevent you from catching corona. And people, there's no joke about that one. But the reality is that it prevents morbidity. It prevents you from dying. It prevents the hospitals from, like what is happening in Jamaica now, where there are no bed spaces. Yeah? And so that's the reality of it. If you want, remember, this is a very small country by the patches, and a very lovely country. But the fact is, if JNFJ, if the hospital up there in West should become overflowing with persons, there will be no bed space. If the hospitals up in East should overflow, there will be no bed space. And so the vaccination helps to prevent I did say it's 70-something% assured that if you take it, you'll have less hospitalization.
What about the situation in terms of quarantine in Jamaica?
Well, you know, Jamaica has implemented a strict quarantine protocol of late, which is that you must do the mandatory 14-day quarantine. However, persons are getting away with breaching those things, whereas the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has implemented a stricter, if I should use that term, to say a more strict protocol. And so I kept on saying to you, during the onset of COVID, that the measures that the Federation has implemented, led by the Honorable PM, is something that we could have learned from and something that we would have adopted. And we adopted that late, which would have been in January of this year, that we started enforcing the 14 mandatory day quarantine. But there's still quarantine at home. There's no monitoring of the quarantine like what is being done here. So there's a difference, and the difference is seen in the numbers. Yes.
Well, we wish you the best of luck and stay safe.
My final words I say again, don't wait, vaccinate. It is the right thing to do.
Yes, we very well believe you, and we echo those words. Don't wait, vaccinate. It's 24 before the 10 o'clock hour. We'll see how the lines react for the next 24 minutes, but we're happy we are getting our intermittent calls, but Albert Bradley is trying his very best playing technician there in the studio. He has succeeded to a great extent, And we must thank him for trying to get you on here to express your views. But you hear that? In Jamaica, 945 deaths, some 27,000 cases are being monitored. And the vaccine, no matter what we say, the facts are the facts. The vaccines would help to prevent hospitalization and, to use the word, morbidity. Well, that's a little big one. Let's say prevent deaths as well. And my Straight Dog family, I like ordinary people who understand the importance of this vaccine. The importance of a vaccine is known by many. And I like when they express that view, my Straight Dog family. When they express that view in the face of all the hypocrisy and all the unethical moves by those who should know better and should do better, we have to applaud them. Applaud people like Lydia Dumpling Manners and Straight Up.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night.
This is Dumpling.
How are you, Dumpling?
I tell you about 2 months ago that sensitive people feel like this corona is unity method and all the ministers them involved in it and the doctors and the nurses. But they realize that they're like sensitive people, they're on the radio and they're encouraging people to don't take it, but wait till Cuba send and all kind of thing. And now he reach here to kill out sensitive people, to kill us out, you know. They're like us. Patrick, I can't understand sensitive people. They don't say how we illiterate. And it look like sensitive people look like they suffer too. Because something to help the federation mind. The children them can't get it. The pregnant mothers them can't get it. And these sensible people who got a lot of diploma could let Dumpling go down the clinic and get your first shot. I will want the last thing I like to see next month to go for me other one. I tell me to and them make sure they go take it, you know. Because Patrick, just Harmony give me my vaccine when I was between 11 going on 12 down the health center. And me dead. And it was for chicken pox, all kind of pox, all kind of sickness going on. And Mr. Bratcher said the school children had to take it and son and big people. Well, what happened to sensitive people? What happened to us, boy? We small if it's sweet to you, we gone, you know. Patrick, this is Dumpling. Love you. See you. May I not less to say. Well, Timothy got mine down here waiting on the 16th of next month. Make you about nobody else.
Yeah. That's loud and clear, Dumpling. And that's no other way you could have said it. You said it like it is. My Straight Dog family, it's 19 before the 10 o'clock hour. Again, I want to apologize for the difficulty we're having. But everyone who wants to give a fair commentary would say the NEOC, the HEOC, and the cabinet led by Prime Minister Harris continues to do a marvelous job in containing this deadly virus even as we speak. And two medical soldiers, I call them, come to mind. The general called the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, and the other General, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, they must be highly commended along with their staff. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, politics. You got through.
Yes, man. No, I wasn't trying to get you, I was giving other people a chance to get a call because people meet me every minute. Sometimes when I come off the radio, people call me and they tell me, radio keep off the radio. You can't give somebody a chance, but I was giving them a chance to call in. So I was just listening, Patches. Patches.
How is culture?
Oh, yeah, right. He's okay. Yeah.
He's okay?
Yeah, man. He's doing well, man. He's doing well. He's doing well. He's doing well.
Okay.
I call him, madam tell me, all right, Me ain't gone over the really as yet. I was supposed to go yesterday. I mean, yesterday was Sunday, but I just tired and I don't know for the animal, them, man. When I don't know for the animal, them, got me tired, look out the weather dry. I don't even get to go to church yesterday. Anyway, I just call him, madam, often, so she tell me he's okay, in good hand. And I asked somebody, I was by somebody today who went to see him, and he said that he back on here and he talking good and everything, Now, Patches, the mighty honesty singer Calypso, and I think Captain Licky Board played every day on the program. COVID taught us a lesson. And it seemed to me, can't do Lydia Dumpling manners. COVID ain't taught nobody in sync it nothing. When I mean nobody, COVID ain't taught some of us nothing, some of the ignorant of them nothing. They're doing as they like, saying as they like, and try to blow things out of proportion. And this is a fact, Patches, because when you listen to some of these people, that's Patches, let me tell you, that's why I tune into the ZIZ. If I want to listen to a little gospel, I tune into Dominion. If I want to listen to, I tune into Van Radio also. But to these propaganda stations in this country, I do not listen to them. Totally listen to them. Because I want to get a comfortable mind, and when I come on the radio, say things in the proper way, and do things the proper way. Not come on and malign nobody, I say nothing negative against nobody. Who wants to say that is the business that? But this is our country, and we got to protect it by whatever means. We got to do it. With the situation, how the world be right now, people coming in the country, we know that the country open up still. And we got community spread now, and people still ignorantly up and down without mask. So people still on passenger bus without mask. I believe that if people was doing the right thing, I believe the task force will let them carry up to 9 passengers. But some of them ain't want to wear a mask. So they got to do what they got to do. And sometimes the driver speak to them, they don't want to listen to the driver, and these things. But Patches, we'll get here. Everything.
We have about, let's say, 10 more other cases where I'm hearing on the street, it's been alleged that certain people around the government sector, been alleged, accused of having COVID, and we'll let you know about it if it's true or not.
Before,
What am I saying? There'll be a press conference. I'm sorry, we had a little break in transmission. That was my bad. Sorry. I was going to say, I was saying earlier that there will be no leadership matters tomorrow night, but that resumes on next week Tuesday. But come Thursday, there will be the Prime Minister's press conference. Let us go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
That's it, good night.
Good night, my dear.
That's it. Good night. That
How are you?
Somebody that call and he lie, that don't make up story. I wanted them alone to hear about these things. He lying. Don't study them. It takes one radio station in St. Kitts to spread this whole nonsense about the corona. No study them, that's it. They ain't no good. People like say matter no more to them. They don't care. When the crime was kicking all of them, they like it. And now the crime may cool down. They don't have nothing to say. They want to blame everybody else except. They're causing more problems to people than the COVID. Don't study them parties, they're not damn good. Some of them is Christian calling in on the radio and telling them, oh, as long as you wear your mask and this, it's okay. Right? But when they go to church, they encourage you to be a Christian, to give your life to God. And when you tell them, okay, I'm going to wait, they say, do it now before it's too late. That's the same thing the Prime Minister telling them and the CMO. Do it now before it's too late. Take the vaccine. And now you stop talk. Eh? When you go to church, sometimes you can't get the pastor to christen your children them because they say you ain't a member of the church. You can't christen your children them. So it's can't for this time nobody going to go up the dock without the vaccine is. That's the job. They do what they want. Everybody going to do what they want with their body. And I don't tell nobody how to run the show. Patches, good night. Prime Minister, good night. I love you and be safe. See you when I see you. Bye, Patches. People right there matter no more to them. Bye.
Bye, my dear sister. Sounds like my warrior from the east. Let's see if this call can be accepted. Can we? Let's try this call. Call your live.
Patches, Megan, the phone line is a little problem. You know, the call is cutting out, you know. I don't know. Something really gives some problem here. Patches, you see the same thing I tell you? That's why I don't listen to those fake people who calling in on the station. Since 2014, 2015, that caller, that male caller there, calling in and lambasting the unity before they get in government. And saying all kind of negative thing about the unity. And saying all kind of negative thing about Dr. Harris. We was there with them. Where they was so love so much. Because Dr. Harris has done what he has done. To get with the PAM and the CCM. To cause, and PLP, to cause this unity government to be here. Because of what was going on. Now we in a pandemic. We're so serious. See, any family now could get pandemic and wipe out the whole family. But you see only one thing they're concerned about. They're concerned about the party in opposition, and they will call in to make any false allegation against any minister, government, or whatsoever. Talk about they got COVID and all these things. But Patches, they talk till 2015, 2020, now he come in talk, and the people them do what they got to do. And I thought that them will come together and get a common sense and try to encourage the party, to help strengthen the party and build the party back, to come back to the normalcy and get a leader who lead the party. But they come in and still with the fake news and the ignorance will come in with it. So Patches, how anybody could take them serious? And how anybody could think about they love any country? They love no country, Patches. They love the party and they love themselves. Look at the great job this unity government is doing with this COVID. It can't bother rock. Nobody here starving. Nobody here hungry. In spite of people got a little financial problem. Nobody up and down a tape and a beg nobody and a think nothing. Think it out. We are God bless. And God gonna get us out of it, Patches. You have a wonderful night. God bless. Jacqueline, good night and good night, brother culture. Bless up.
Yes. Good night, my dear brother. It's now 8 before 10. Let's try to get this other caller as well. Caller, you live. Yes, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. Well, caller. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. I do apologize, the Freedom family. I hope and trust that we'll sort out these connectivity matters sooner rather than later. There's a message here, Facebook message. ZIZ said on this evening news that Wednesday is the last day to take the dose of the vaccine. It is accurate. It's been asked. Well, if you heard it, I will have to reconfirm that. But let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Patches.
Hello, caller. Yes, sir.
Is it true if one is going up the port to clear a package, they have to be vaccinated?
As far as I know, that the Attorney General addressed that, and that is not so.
Thank you for clearing it up.
Yes, thanks.
Why do some people talk about the vaccine as if it's some kind of holy grail?
Could you repeat that? I missed you.
Why do some people talk about the vaccine as if it's some kind of holy grail?
Holy Grail?
Yeah.
What's that? What do you mean to say?
What I'm saying is that there are possibilities about the vaccine. You can actually get a blood clot from this vaccine if you're unlucky. If you're lucky, everything is good. But if you end up in this small number, as I said, a little bit of people who got the blood clot, what's going to happen then? Is the government going to give you a compensation or something?
Well, fortunately, we haven't had that instant kit, so you know, I'm an optimist, so I wouldn't look at that. But I take your point.
Yeah, because you have to look at the possibilities. I mean, it's...
Well, you have to also weigh the possibilities of not taking it as well.
You have a point there. But it is said that millions of people took it, the AstraZeneca vaccine, and only a few got blood clot. But you guys are saying that it's safe, but you have to look at the possibilities. And taking this vaccine, you have to take it with your fingers crossed. Because if you fall in that line where you get a blood clot, you're sick for life or you're dead. So I'm saying when people are urging people and pressing and saying, some jobs are saying you can't come to work unless you get a vaccine, all this thing is wrong. This is pressing against human rights. You guys can't do that. If we make a decision, it's a personal decision, is what we want to put within our body. You cannot overrule that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. So, just to add, you know, the public health legislation speaks to issues like that, but let's deal that another time. Let's take this other call. You're live.
Pastor, good night. Our outside. You're not doing it. You hear me clear.
Yes, I heard you.
Okay, but Pastor, life matters no more to some people, you know. Some people taking life now like nothing. You hear? I hear some of them talking some stupidness of people forcing vaccination on people to take it. Some of them say they're Christian. That's why when I see them going on masquerade, they don't move out the way. Because they're holding a lot of things in the heart against people. You is a Christian and you're going to tell me, okay? Give me life to Christ before it's too late, and I'm going to tell you, ain't ready yet. I'm going to tell you, okay, I don't read my Bible and praise God. Oh, and they're going to tell you, oh, you still have to give your life to Christ. That when you're dead, you could be on the safe side. So what? If the Prime Minister tell them to take the vaccine, wearing the mask is not a problem, but, you know, it hinder you from going to the hospital. When I hear them calling from America, do not study them. New York alone, how about maybe 6 hospitals? Jacobi Hospital alone, the emergency room alone, almost big up the hospital in St. Kitts. They got what it takes up here when they get sick, and Joe Biden could go to Congress and ask for $trillions to take care of them. So when I hear them calling on radio and talking about people watching vaccine on people's throat, not study with them, you hear practice? Life matters no more to some people right now. That's why them go on. So let them go on. Who don't want to take it, not take it. Nobody forcing nothing on nobody, but it's the best thing to do. Because when you hear how you can come in and they come on the radio and say you prep yourself, everybody want to go buy food. But the vaccine, if the COVID don't cause problem to people, I don't want to take it. So a woman not the barbecue, want to know why the vaccine, she wants to know the side effects. What do they put in the chicken when they barbecue in it and make it so soft and turn up your pressure? Eh? What do they put in the chicken? They need to stop. Just because they don't support the Prime Minister, they got nothing to say about him. But he's forcing vaccine on people too. That's the job. And the ministers, them who willing, and the premier, that's what they're supposed to do. Encourage the people them to take the vaccination. They ain't gonna kill you. What they're doing is causing more harm than the vaccine. That is, good night, people's lives, matters no more. It takes one radio station to spread this whole thing. Okay? Rumors were unpredict. Take the radio station to spread this whole thing and got people following, educated people, you know, who know better and supposed to do better. Before they educate the people, and some of them is Christian, come on and preach the word of God, look, Greg. Greg does talk about God, but them getting in everything. They say the Prime Minister went in church and pulpit, go preach and hear and a call there. What they doing on the radio between sinners? Who know better, do better. That is, you have a safe night. Be safe. Who don't want, this is Jacqueline, eh? Unity. That dumpling, because people that take me for dumpling. Good night, that is.
Good night, Jackie. Nothing like dumpling. You don't have that laugh like dumpling. Caller, you're live.
Hi, good night, Patrick. How are you doing this evening? Well, why people are afraid to take the vaccine? May I ask? Because if our money was sharing, right, a lot of people would be signing up to get the money. But people, please go and take the people vaccine to better the country so the country can open up. Because if our money sharing, everybody that run go for the money. That's all I have to say. Good night, Patrick.
Well, let's... Okay. Good night. Good night, my brother.
Good.
Well, let's try to encourage them and not to humiliate or belittle them, because we know in the past we have taken vaccines, but yes, sometimes there is genuine fear, but of course there are some who just don't want the success of this administration to continue, and they promote all sorts of hesitancy. They spread rumors like this one, for example.
You know, we have about, let's say, 10 more other cases where I'm hearing on the street, it's been alleged that some people around the government sector been alleged, accused of having COVID, and we'll let you know about it if it's true or not.
Before, you know, and they use these loose terms, been alleged, you know, but Prime Minister Harris, I like how he put it. He rejected this.
Persons who are not even bearers of the COVID-19 disease have had their names scandalized across social media. And we must reject that as indecent, inappropriate, and unethical. And those of us who receive them on our phones must not bother, we must immediately delete them and not share them with anyone else, because we help in propagating unethical conduct by doing so. So, again, to all those who have been victim of that indecent behavior, I pray that you are able to pick up the pieces and to continue. And those of us who know better will do better, and we will do unto others what we would like them to do unto us.
Yes, do unto others as you'll have them do unto you. And anyone who wants to be fair would say that we have been doing a wonderful job controlling this virus for well over 1 year. We have been doing a wonderful job. My straight dog family. Is there a caller? Yes, caller, you're live.
I did it. It's politics the plane, you know. It's politics the plane. Because I hear somebody come over a propaganda station. He said Douglas was in the red and wrong, I heard the army was clean. You understand? Not politics on a play.
I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be one kind, one people. We are roll up to roll up, cause no man's alone. Do what's right, cause I love you. Brother, my sister, and we're in this together, master, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us, yeah. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Let your mommy roll up to roll out.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot
Yes,
of
Alpha, we
protecting.
seem to have an interference. I see your cinnamon media. We obviously have an interference, Alva. Yeah, we do have an interference from your end there, Alva.
Operations Center.
Yes, I'm hearing it.
COVID-19 emergency briefing for Wednesday, the 19th of May, 2021. Thank you very much for joining us for our briefing today, whether you have joined us by television, radio, or social media. We continue to update you on what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis with respect to the management of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still with us. And we have a responsibility to manage this pandemic as best as we could so that our country is kept safe and secure. Today we have a number of speakers, including the